and we're going. So thanks, Lindsay and Sean, for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it. Before we get started, Lindsay, could you just kind of give us a quick overview of your team and again, who's who on the Zoo? I know not everybody's on the call, but I do have a list of names, so I'm not sure who's really reporting to who.
Sure, no problem. So I can share, let me go back into the invite. Jacques is still feeling terrible. So Jacques and I'm just gonna let him know, I'm terrible at typing and talking, so just give me one moment.
That's okay, I hope he feels better.
So in a hierarchy, Jacques runs he's the VP for EC, and so he would oversee all the EC consultants, implementation strategy, solution architects, and so on. Also has some data sciences folks on his team. I am the VP for talent management, and so Sarah Shelbitsky reports to me. So she is the practice director for talent. So she would run the talent core modules, PMGM, succession, and so forth. The other ones under my umbrella are comp, LMS, and the talent acquisition suite. So that's a bit of it from our side. Oh, and I see Christian joined as well. Fantastic.
Oh, great, great. And then Sean, what is your role there?
I'm an employee central consultant. I'm also a director within a practice.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, and let's see who else. Oh, Christian. I think. Good morning.
Morning. Yes. Sorry for being a few minutes late. Yes, I'm Christian. I'm a solution architect in the Rizing HCM organization, and happy to be part of the call today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We are recording the call, everyone, so just keep that in mind. If you miss something, we can always play it back later. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Chris Burke. I'm the Director of Partner Engagements here at SpinifexIT. I actually work a lot with the Rizing team. Lindsay and Doug and I have had a pleasant conversation a few weeks back, so it was really nice to catch up with her. And we're really excited today to just kind of walk you through a little bit of our Strato solution and also get some of your feedback. So our objectives today really are threefold. The first one, of course, giving you that overview. We have Leanna Stetler on the line, one of our senior solution consultants. She's going to walk you through the product, and she's the person to ask questions of, not me. I'll steer you down a rabbit hole. She's going to walk through document generation, our automated workflow process, and a little bit about our storage capability that's coming very soon. And then we also want to take a little bit of time and talk about our value proposition. And, you know, after what you see with Leanna, does this really fit into your day-to-day operations? Do you see it fitting in any of your programs? And then finally, how do we take this and build this into a program that can be embedded and actually help Rizing become a differentiator in the marketplace? We really feel that we have some great options with Strato to make you guys stand out among everyone else when you're doing your RFP proposals, when you're going after current clients and trying to install, you know, the talent modules or EC. And we really want to make sure that we've given you a nice little package to include to make you that much more visible in the marketplace. And if that, you know, Doug, did you want to add anything to that before we moved on?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks everybody. It's good hearing your voices so early in the morning. Yeah, I would say, you know, it's we probably struggled a little bit to figure out how to engage, you know, with this team at Rizing. You know, our focus has been on payroll to date, and I guess really what I'm trying to get to is try to kind of replicate that level of engagement to the extent that it makes possible, that it makes sense, I guess. And you know, really, if I were to use an analogy from you know, on the payroll side, you know, we have the easy migration product offering that was, you know, I think really a differentiator that we can take to the market and stand out and drive additional business, you know, for that side of the Rizing organization. And at the end of the day, that's what we're really trying to solve for on the talent side, right? Is there a way that we can take the tools that we have today that we're going to talk about it here in a bit, and you know, add functionality or package functionality around what we do, so that you guys have a competitive advantage in the marketplace, right? You can differentiate yourself from everybody else and all the other partners that we work with. So that's really what we want to get to, I guess, as a result. And we're hopeful that this is kind of our first level of discussion so that we can learn how to work better with the organization. I would say that this is going to be a high-level overview, hopefully just enough to get you understanding what we mean by document generation and workflow and storage, and that at the right time, then and with the right people, then we can do a deep dive into how the product works and all that kind of stuff. So I would say that there'll be more to come in terms of additional detail, and and this is kind of, I'm kind of seeing this as an internal meeting, right? We feel like we're in a great relationship with the Rizing team, and so there's no offsides. Anything you want to hear, anything you want to ask is fine, and we'll address it as we go. So with that, I'll hand it over to Leanna to kind of walk through overview of the solution, and then after that, then we'll have a discussion. And it's I really look forward to having some kind of direct feedback from the team in terms of our value proposition, and then kind of our next steps on building that product offering. So we'll go from there.
Thanks.
I'm up.
Yep, you're up.
Okay. Hi, Leanna Stetler here. Chris kind of introduced me already. I'm just going to go through a few slides and kind of talk about Strato a little bit before I actually get into our demo system and kind of show you how it works. So here we go. Also, as Doug mentioned, we like to have it interactive. So raise your voice if you have a question during this presentation and conversation, and at any time, because we do like to keep it interactive. So anyway, okay, so Strato is SpinifexIT's fully cloud-based HR and payroll solution to generate lifecycle documents. And as we're going to see, it also communicates across SuccessFactors and SAP Suite. So whether you're using Employee Central, SuccessFactors Recruiting, the different talent modules, or you just have an SAP ECC system out there with your payroll and HR information in it, we can use Strato for your document needs. Click. I'm trying to click to go to the next screen. There we go. To start with, what are we talking about? We're talking about the lifecycle documents that occur at any enterprise level business. It all starts out with recruiting, your offer letters, contract documents, etc., which get people in the door. And over the course of someone's employment, they need to self-generate documents for themselves, like a verification of employment letter. But then there's those other things that happen throughout the course of the year, perhaps a change in position, merit time, a change of pay, people go on leave, and then there's those benefits and payment letters that people might need, total compensation statement, claim letter, who knows? And then, of course, when somebody retires or leaves the company, then there's usually an exit letter. When I look at this slide, I see all different departments. We look at talent management when it comes to recruiting. We look at HR in general when it comes to movement. We look at benefits and compensation. It's one of those things that really goes across the entire HR group. Some companies have a document generation solution, but they're not always stellar. Maybe you're always doing Microsoft Word, and the problem with document generation is keeping it compliant. And are we using templates in the correct way? So people who are using Microsoft Word method usually don't have much when it comes to compliance. You have some Word documents out there on a shared drive where someone needs to produce a document. They grab the template, edit it with manual effort to put it together, and then it goes out. And hopefully they got it right, because we're all human. There's human error involved, right? Just think about that offer letter. That thing has to be pretty much perfect. And the reason you might be doing Microsoft Word or Adobe or something else is because there's limited design options out there. Some of the software that's released for document generation, even in SAP, it's really difficult to get a nicely designed document out there. And with Strato, we're able to do that for you. Strato Workflow provides an option for organizations to further optimize their employee lifecycle processes by automating activities that previously required human touch points. And I'm going to show you that as I get into the system. And in the end, what you're also trying to do when it comes to document generation is you want to improve that user experience, right? Right now, people are getting emails or opening stuff up. They need to print out those letters, sign them, scan them, and then send them back. It would be nice if you could provide some sort of workflow out there to make all of this automated from a document generation standpoint. It not only improves the user experience for the person that's performing that, but also for the person who's receiving the document itself. Okay. Let's talk about Strato Workflow for a few minutes, and I'm going to show you a few examples once I get into success factors. But I like to talk about different maturity levels and the time it takes, and the time savings that you get when you're using Strato. Right now, you may be at a level 1, and that might be someone's full-time job, just manually generating and distributing documents, which isn't fun. Also, you really don't have a good audit trail with this model because you probably have multiple emails going back and forth, and not everything is stored in the same place. So that's pretty much level 1. Then there is software out there that provides level 2, just generating the correct document, not having to go out there to a template on a shared drive, but just clicking on the correct job, or it's like a job offer letter, and generating that document. That at least removes the human error of it not having to manipulate the content to get it right. As an example, you have a movement document that is used specifically for a job change, and the document is automatically pulling those fields from the system into the document for inclusion instead of manually typed in. This level can also be smart to know which letterhead to use based on the company or division that the employee works for. Level 2 can handle this for you. It's usually not feature rich, and you probably have limitations on design features, but we really want to get to level 3, where it's the set it and forget it mentality, right? Documents are generated based on an automated system. They have workflow capabilities built in to automatically push the documents where they need to go. The idea is to get to level 3. Level 3 can actually generate a document when the event is entered into SuccessFactors without any further action needed. Here's just an example. I'm kind of looking at the time to make sure we've got enough time left. But here's just an example. The first one is just from the standpoint of manually doing it and the length of time that it takes. A letter is requested by the employee. The employee gets the request. HR processes the request. Excuse me, I've got to take a sip of water. And it takes a little bit of time, you know, because there's some back and forth. With Strato, you're able to reduce that to just under 5 minutes because the employee requests a letter from the portal, and they automatically receive it. That 5 minutes that's here is really the amount of time that it takes for them to log into SuccessFactors, click on the tile to request maybe a verification of employment letter, and they automatically receive it. The second example here is from a recruiting process with a job offer, as far as the steps and the people involved to actually process that request, where it could take up to 1 to 3 days to go through the approval process and to get that taken care of, versus less than 1 hour to just work through the workflow to actually produce that documentation. And then we're going to talk about one of the new features of Strato, which is using intelligent services to automatically trigger documents where it's not even a matter of somebody having to go in and produce that document. As soon as somebody is set to the approval status for a job out there, that it automatically kicks off, fires off that document to go through the process to be approved by the hiring manager, and then off to the candidate to be accepted, or whatever workflow that you want it to go through, whether it has to go through the recruiter, then the hiring manager, et cetera, and we'll go through that. I'm just kind of stepping through all this. And then this just kind of talks about, this just kind of looks at the process as far as having it come through, as far as what we're able to do. And I'll show you this with the job offer letter that, as I said before, it just automatically fires off that document. And then we're also going to be able to do that with other letters. Maybe, for instance, somebody gets a job change, a salary increase, some event in their employee life cycle, and then it automatically will kick that off for them. So, and that's coming soon with one of our next releases. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and go into my my SuccessFactors system. Does anybody have any questions? Let me pause for a second.
Hi, this is Christian here. I do have a question.
Yes.
How is this, and very much like with doc generation, right, in the market today, right? There's, most clients are going with open text, and we find ourselves working with clients that have already selected a doc generation tool like open text that's been in the market for a round, right? How does Strato kind of measure up against that right now? Have you guys have been in like a direct competition with the open text doc generation tool in that sense? Because that's been used widely in the SuccessFactors space as well, right? And with their XCCM product line. So I'm just wondering, how does that sit against that, right?
Yeah, maybe I'll take that one, Leanna, since that's more
Yeah,
kind of the market. Yep. Yeah, so we actually have been in a competition with OpenText, and Accenture was the other as well.
Their doc composer, right? So that's the other one.
Yeah. And so we actually, the client was BHP, and actually the slide that Leanna was showing with the timelines, that was actually one of their slides that they put together for their internal sales pitch to get the project approved. We actually just went live with them about a month ago, I guess, worldwide. So we have competed with OpenText. I think probably the winning formula for us in that particular engagement was, kind of flexibility, our ability to work and really kind of customize our software to do what BHP needed to do in the timeline that they needed to do it. And probably cost was probably the other advantage that we had. And so we see ourselves really focused on the HR space instead of kind of a broad organizational-wide document management system. And with that ability to really focus in on kind of bespoke requirements, I guess. And to be clear, this is a product that has we've had out there for a couple of years, but it continues to grow and add functionality. And so, as an example, early next year we'll be rolling out storage, and I think that gets us really kind of close to some level of parity with the overall OpenText product in terms of HR anyway. So they are the incumbent. They're obviously on the top of the list for SAP Doc Gen, but customers are looking for alternatives, right? That meet their needs at a better price point, and specifically for HR. So so it's a battle for sure, but there's definitely openings there for us.
And I have a second question around that. So the biggest problem with Doc Gen, with for example with OpenText, is they don't have anything out of the box. They always we find ourselves I found myself in implementations with them where they're customizing, even though they say in their pitches that they deliver like a standard solution or standard delivered documents. It never ends up being the place where they end up building from scratch, building custom code and stuff like that. Whereas I saw in one of the slides that there was no coding required. Is it because you guys have some pre-delivered documents that interact with the current SuccessFactors product lines like recruiting and Employee Central that you guys already have available within within Strato, or?
Yeah, so that's a fabulous question, and that's exactly what I want to be able to get to, Christian. is we're a technology people, but we don't understand the market like you do, and that's really what I want to get to at the end of this discussion is what do we need to do to give you that advantage, right? If that is to have standard templates, and we don't, generally speaking, have standard templates today. We have a very easy way to build them, but to your point, having a library of templates and letters is a great sales tool, and it provides a ton of confidence to the client, right? So that's exactly what we want to get to. So when we get to the end of this, I think that's where we want to really drill into that and figure out a way that we can understand the requirements. We'll build them for you so that when you go out to sell, you will have the templates.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll actually get into Strato and kind of show you how it's structured. I'm going to start out just by showing you a couple of the letters that are out there and how easy it is to get there and how you're able to. We use smart technology when it comes to content, where, for instance, we've got one company who had multiple job offer letters, and we were able to consolidate that down to one letter for them. And with the smart content that's in there, it only pulls in different things such as like a hiring bonus or relocation amount or things like that, where it only shows up if they actually have it, and so forth. So I'll give you a preview of that. Okay. So anyway, so I am in our demo system in SuccessFactors, and where I'm going to start out is I'm just going to go into this tile here for a letter of offer and just show you a couple versions of the job offer letter and what it looks like. And it's going out there and reading Strato, it's reading SuccessFactors and getting that information. And I'm going to go ahead and select a couple people. You can do one at a time. You can do multiples. Now this is kind of like the level 2 maturity that I talked about. Sylvia. Okay. So I've got 2 people, and I'm going to go ahead and generate the letters. It's going to take just a minute to pop up. If anybody has any questions, just let me know while this is processing.
Yeah, as you're doing that, so we're going to talk about the offer letter today, but obviously this applies to any letter throughout the life cycle that we need to generate.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a couple of different letters that I'm going to show, but I want to show the flow of the workflow in a couple different ways. This one is just going through and initiating the document itself. And what you'll see here is the offer letters. The first one is for Nitesh. We've got a nice logo at the top, basic compensation information. This is all coming from the recruiting module as far as what the benefits are and so forth. It indicates basic salary, a bonus, relocation. This is going to go out for digital signature. We're using Adobe Sign, but you can also use DocuSign, and we have our own Strato digital signature as well. So depending what the needs are of the customer, we have that information. There's a couple different pages here with information. What you'll see here with this is I pulled this letter for 2 different people. Okay, so there's Nitesh, and then we also have one for Sylvia. And what you'll notice here when I look at Sylvia is there's no bonus and there's no relocation. And that's the smart technology behind it with the content filtering. And when I go directly into Strato, I will show that to you and how that's set up. But we'll go ahead at this point and say, okay, well, I want to kick this off and send this to Nitesh. The other thing I'll mention too is right here, you can see, just because you can see these carriage returns, this section right here is editable, where if I wanted to add something that's like a one-off, so maybe they're getting an extra 2 weeks vacation, you can type this in here. Also be receiving an extra 2 weeks vacation. You can do that. Of course, there's other sections, for instance, like the salary and other things that you don't want to be editable for whoever's kicking out the documents, but you do have those sections that can. And here we've got the ability to store the document in SuccessFactors. It's not signed yet, but you have that option. It will automatically store it to the candidate in the requisition right now. We're going to talk a little bit about the storage that's coming with Strato in just a little bit as well. And here I can print it. I can download as a PDF, but I'm going to go ahead and send this document. And what it does is it comes up with a screen and it shows the workflow that is set up for this. If I do my little preview button, you can actually see the email addresses that it's going to go to, right? And I'm just going to go ahead and kick that off and send it. So this is like a maturity level 2 that I talked about. It's not automatically triggering based on an action in recruiting, and I'm going to show that to you next. But what happens is once this is sent, if I go to my email, I then have this here where it's going to the hiring manager. And then if I go into it, this lets me go in and say, okay, here's your document. I am logged in as Maya Cooper, which is the hiring manager. And then you just basically go in, you click it, you sign it, and then it automatically moves to the candidate for approval. Once it's there, let me go back. I'll go ahead and close this. I'm going to go into recruiting. I did this ahead of time, just to kind of make sure that we weren't spending a lot of time just walking through the steps. You go in, come on. Here we go. I go into that requisition, I go into the candidates. Once it comes up, and then I go into Nitesh. And we use Nitesh a lot for our demos. So there's a lot of messages out here. If I go in, you can see this one is dated today. And we can go in here. And then it stores the document right here. Of course, this is a test system, so that's why you get that message. But then it has a signature of the hiring manager and of Nitesh. So that's where it stores it today. As far as a level 3 maturity, it would be just a matter of going in here. Say you're the recruiter, and it's like, okay, we want to send an offer letter to Nitesh. All you need to do is actually go in here and change the status from created to approved. And again, I did this ahead of time, just for the sake of time this morning with you guys. You change this to approved, and that will automatically trigger that intelligent service to automatically get that email to go out to go through the process. And what I've got here is if I go into my emails, it's this one right here, the letter offer that's out there. The one thing that I do have to do first, just to show you, is I need to proxy, and this is, I'm going to proxy as the hiring man or as the recruiter here, because it has to go through the recruiter first, the way that we have this. And when I go to my email, make sure that it's set before I do it. Okay, so I'm proxy this test. And then if I go to this, it's single sign-on. It knows I'm already logged into SuccessFactors as test. And then it's going to come up and it's going to bring me to that letter offer. And then I'm going to go in and approve it. And then what it's going to actually do is it's going to then forward the email to Maya, who is the hiring manager. And then once it's approved by Maya, then it goes to Nitesh. And then Nitesh would accept or reject it, for that matter. And then it would automatically be stored back to the candidate, to his candidate profile in the requisition. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, I take that as a yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take that as a yes. And for me to kind of step through this process with you, and I would have to continue to proxy as the next person and go through that. So instead of having to do that, just kind of like talking about it, I think is fine. And I'm sure you guys understand that. If you don't, let me know, and I can step through that process. Now, the one thing too is that's just a letter of offer. I'm going to go ahead real quick, and I'm going to proxy if somebody else real quick before I go in, and then I'm going to jump right into Strato itself so that you can actually see what it looks like. But we accept the authorizations that are in SuccessFactors, right? It's single sign-on, so I'm proxied in as a manager. For here, I can go into my documents and I can see different things that are out there for myself, just like any employee would be able to do, maybe a verification of employment, things of that nature that they can just automatically go out there and get. It's kind of fetching the information right now. So I've got a certificate of employment and I've got a compensation statement. I'm looking at the clock and I see we're kind of running low on time, but I'm going to go ahead and go in and show you a life cycle document for an employee. Say, for instance, Sydney has an employee that just had a salary increase. And we want to go out there and produce a document to give them that information. So we've got a notice of pay change, and it's going to come up, and you can generate these documents one at a time. You can go out there and grab several. You can see I can just continue to select. It's direct or indirect employees. I'm just going to do one and generate. You can see what this looks like. And you can have these set up so that once you generate them, you can automatically email them to the employee, or you can have them, this one is just set up so that you can just generate it and maybe print it out because you want to hand it to them, right? They're getting a salary increase and you want to call them in your office and just hand them the letter. So it's looking at their data and it's pulling in their name, their new salary, their old salary, what the percentage was of the change. It's got the signature at the bottom and so forth. So that is that. And then the other one that I kind of wanted to show you real quick is I want to go in, let me proxy as myself. And I want to just go in and show you one other document. I'm going to go documents for all. And we're going to go into the talent card. This one's kind of cool. This is our talent card that pulls in multiple bits of information for the employee. The format is really rich on this, so I just like to show this one, and then I'll jump into the system. Okay, so here we've got the picture of the employee up here, along with some organizational information, what their position is, their hire date, location, experience, education, performance rating, and the impact of loss versus risk of loss with a little graphic right here. From here, we've got this one set up to automatically send via email, or it could be printed or downloaded as a PDF. Pretty nice. Anyway, so next thing that I want to do is I just want to go into Strato, and I've already got this loaded up. This is the actual offer letter that I was showing you a few minutes ago. Whoops, I'm in the wrong spot. Hold on. This is where I want to be. I am in Strato right now, and you can actually, we've got this set up just to show you in our demo system, and you could do that in any SuccessFactors system. We've got a link directly to Strato. It's single sign-on, but I already had it loaded up, so I'm in here. I'm in the letter of offer template, and you can see here that we've got different sections. Over on the left, you've got your page settings, section settings, etc. And here, I talked about the smart content, and we didn't see on either of those two letters for Nitesh or Sylvia that there was a STIP bonus plan. We did see a relocation allowance for Nitesh, but didn't see one for Sylvia. And you can also see that there's stock options. What we're able to do with the document itself is you can see this little filter over here. These are individual sections that you just add to your document and say, okay, for this relocation bonus, only show this section when this condition applies. If I go into this condition and I just kind of drill into it, what it's doing is it's looking at the relocation package entity within the job requisition and the job application. It's looking at that field and it's saying if the label contains a value, then show that. And we're doing that with the relocation, with the stock option, etc. And also with this target bonus, we're able to do that here. In here too is you see the editor up here in the body of the letter, where it looks like Word, right? Where you've got the ability to change the text, etc. And if you're adding a field, for instance, remember this first section was editable, where you could go in and do anything that you want. Say, for instance, I want to add a field to this or add another paragraph to this. So I just start typing, I can just start typing in, provide you, and you want to add a field, you just basically go in here and say field selector, and then this looks at all the fields that are available to you to actually add into this document. So it's pretty simple to be able to add. Of course, you know, there's no coding behind it, no programming. It's just going out there and selecting the information that you want to be added to the actual document itself. Any questions at all?
None here. I
Are you
know
still there?
it's hard to present to a quiet room. It's early-ish, so thank you.
Yeah, sure, no problem. As far as if I go back just to the main page of Strato, because I was already in the system, this is what it looks like when it pulls up. Come on. There we go. So we're just loaded up here. This is the main page where you can go into the library, which is where you find all your documents, where you go in and if you have to do anything with the field settings, with activating any fields and success factors, employee central, etc. And setting up your widgets, your tiles for success factors, and then in here as well. Also, you'll see over here on the left-hand side, those documents that were generated, those letters of offer that I did this morning, they're also available directly within Strato. And with that said, just for me to end my portion of the demonstration, I just want to go back to my deck and talk a minute about what's coming with Strato. And let me just pull this up from current slide. Okay. So one of the things that's coming that's on our roadmap for 2021 is Strato storage. Right now, as you saw, that job offer letter is automatically stored with the candidate on the job requisition itself. What we're doing with Strato is we're having a full storage solution right there. It's add-on functionality which allows you to store and access the employee lifecycle documents to make it quick and simple for everybody to just not only create the documents but to store them. You have one repository to save all of your employee documents, and you'll be able to organize those in any manner that you want to, as far as like subfolders, etc. And of course, authorizations, the documents are encrypted, where the employee can get to their own documents depending on what type of documents they are. The manager can get there, anybody in HR, etc. You've got the logical folders that are going to be there, and it's just like a one-stop shop for all the storage needs, which is kind of a little unlike how SuccessFactors stores documents, because you're kind of like going to different modules to get to different things, where it's just one simple repository that allows you to get to those, and you're able, they can be archived later. You can set that time frame up where after a certain amount of time that they can be archived off, and just retrieved later when needed. So that's kind of my spiel with the actual demonstration itself. So if there's no other questions for me, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to Doug to talk about next steps.
Great. Thank you, Leanna, for doing that. And I know we got a little bit of a late start, so I guess what I wanted to do, I guess, at this point is just do a process check. And as you've seen, we believe our value proposition is really being about more efficient and more flexible around generation of letters, various types of letters, and so I guess I just wanted to validate that that our view is consistent with your view, right? That there is a market opportunity to improve the process for your clients. And so I'll just maybe seek some feedback at this point from the Rizing team and see if we're on the same page here.
I'm going to let the other folks, I know I'm going to want to bring this back to my talent acquisition practice director, so I'll share this with her to get her read on where this is. I don't know if the rest of the Rizing team wants to give any thoughts, just high level on what you think here. And if not, we can always take it back and have a conversation.
It seems like a very smooth process. It's not cumbersome what we have right now today, success factors. I see opportunities in meetings, where there's, say there's a product out there, that's something maybe we can discuss with the account executive, because there's going to be gaps that we have exist right now with success factors not able to fully really meet the client requirement. So this, I'm pretty happy to see this, and it's nice to see a success factors partner come up with this kind of product.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. And
are there like marketing tips? Are there like tips that maybe give us an idea of what's good time to bring this up with the client? Where there's an opportunity. You guys have like a top 10 list or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We can provide kind of our standard marketing materials, around points for sure. How about just like specifically on workflow and storage? Is that something that resonates with you guys?
Yeah, it does. This question here, it does, because SuccessFactors as a product is always marketed itself as not a storage solution. They don't promote document storage on their platform. It's something that long term they're moving away from. So having options on storage is something that from what I've seen, is something that customers are looking at, for like their documents that are HR specific. So that's a need that's becoming more and more as things progress with the cloud. So that's a good opportunity to, especially on the storage side.
Yeah.
And document generate, like storage is great, but DocGen also adds on to that level of like, okay, making it a whole experience where they don't have to worry about just building the document and storing it. It's all in one process. So it's especially on the Employee Central side where there's no actual, and Sean, keep me honest here, right? Like there's no actual like real like documents generated out of any of our workflows or processes within EC. And that's the one thing that's the benefit of this. It gives that option with doc generation. The only challenge I see, right, is really on the recruiting side, and I definitely don't want to speak too much on behalf of Lindsay's team, right? It's finding that fine line between how much, let's say, job like offer letters, like because a lot of our consultants and a lot of our recruiting consultants are building offer letters, and one of the product benefit of SuccessFactors is building those offer letters within offer letter templates and so on and so forth, right? So, and a lot of times when a tool like this comes in, it reduces the workload on one end and for the benefits of that solution. So we just gotta be careful how we draw the line between like that aspect with regards to recruiting, because that's the challenge that we find is that I've seen, right, is that when clients go with products like this, it's because they have an issue with the creation of how offer letters are created in SuccessFactors. Right, from a recruiting experience perspective. So just have to be careful of the finer line of not like disparaging the product, but also keeping a certain healthy balance between the work that we want to be able to do and get benefit from our product, our implementations, and at the same time bring in the maximum benefit.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because it really is. And I think what you're speaking to is what we need to really have is a plan of attack in terms of how we would present this as an option, right? And there may be different attacks depending on where the client's at in their evaluation process. Clearly, what we see are our clients that have been on SuccessFactors for a while, right? They're like, oh my God, please, right? We need to process and really kind of how.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an opportunity for you guys to generate a lot more demand, right? To go in and actually transform their existing operation, which is what Leanna did, what we did for BHP, and what Leanna just got done doing with the insurance company in Chicago, right? Is to spend the time to actually prepare that part from the back, do better, faster, cheaper, as an add-on.
And the skill set required, like the skill set for this or the resourcing, you guys would provide, the SpinifeX team would provide a resource that would configure Strato, right? Or is it like
I think what we should do, our model is we're just technology, right? That's all we do. And what we would want to do is train you so that your people could do it.
Okay.
And we would be your third level support if you had issues. We have all the clients drive all the process, your nomenclature, which would be way better than ours in terms of, how you approach a project and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we would want to train you and have you actually handle all of that.
Okay, so that's an interesting question. So basic point of view. So with doc generation, right, with the competitor products, right, that sit out there, they have a special skill set that go out there that have like the code in like their coding scripts. Like I've seen them, like I've seen the open text guys, like literally coding script in front of me to do doc generation. Are you saying that Strato has a functionality or has a functionality? Maybe I didn't see it in the demo, right? But is there, like, by training us, that means that there's a configuration aspect that's available where we can configure the format and not code anything?
That's our goal. And and I would say that it's probably 98% there. So if there was coding that would need to be done, we would do that on the back end. But our goal is to give you the ability to do that through our configuration wizard, right? To do all that. Yeah, I mean, and that's one of our basic value propositions. There is no coding.
Okay, so that's a good thing, because that does add a skills from my perspective, right? That adds a skill set that's beneficiary to any of our modules that would use the Strato product, because if there's no coding or coding experience required, and it's mostly the wizard and configuration, that's where I think that's the strongest piece of like the selling plan for us, is that it's a skill set. Like you guys bring in the product and the technology, but we'll have the skill set, the trained skill set, because it's to configure the solution and generate those offer letters or whatever lifecycle documents that we want in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great conversation. So I know we're running out of time here with just a couple minutes, and maybe we can focus on the next steps. But again, my vision would be to take this kind of a conversation to the next level, and really think about how how you would want to position this in the market. And in my vision, right, this is a complete Rizing bespoke offering. We're the technology behind it, but it's really it's your demo system. It's your look and feel. It's your approach to, the various workflows within the talent organization. And we would just be there, and we would be helping you, kind of make that bespoke product. So whether it's, marketing pieces, or whether it's, getting templates built, and you identify them, we can help you build them. Getting your own kind of demonstration system set up so that it's better than ours, because ours really is, pretty marginal too. We have a new one coming out. But really, I guess my point is, everything's on the table, right? In terms of what we could do to really enable you to drive more business for Rizing. And that's really the point here, right? We want you to be able to actually have more consulting services based on use of our tool. So, so with this, that's really what I guess we want to get to. So maybe Lindsay, we probably need to schedule another time, but maybe, maybe the team could caucus on this a little bit internally, and maybe we could identify maybe a small working group to start to flesh out what this might look like and move this forward, so that we can if you guys think it makes sense, right, to move forward and really get something customized for you to use and to sell.
Yeah, so I think what we'll want to do is we'll get the recording. I know that Jacques is going to need to review this, and a few other folks who weren't able to attend today, and we'll bring it back and we'll work through Rob on this to kind of get an internal understanding of the Rizing position on this, where we see value. And I really appreciate everybody on both sides of the call, coming to the table, showing us everything and giving us a better understanding of what the opportunities are. I agree, we kind of need to kind of buckle down a bit on our side, and so we can work through Rob. If you want to send out the recording, we'll have to, as you said, kind of look at it on our side internally. And then probably in the new year would be my best bet, knowing that we have a lot of deliverables before the end of the year, figure out where we go next.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, good.
Yep, I'll get that recording to Rob today, Lindsay.
Perfect, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, we appreciate it, guys. Yeah, we appreciate it. We know you're also very